Hi everyone, comic book reviewer here. This time reviewing on Disney Hercules issue number 1. Now, as you know, Disney Hercules is meant to be a comic book series that takes place sometime after the Disney film Hercules, and the best way I would describe Disney Hercules is basically Disney's take on Superman. And much like it being like Superman, I do see Meet the Robinsons like The Flash, I do see Darkwing Duck a lot like Batman, I do see Beauty and the Beast more like Martian Manhunter, and I do also see Tangled a lot like Aquaman. So let's get on with the story. It starts off how something that happens to Hercules, but we also see sometime, obviously 1 week earlier, Phil sort of given the big announcement that Hercules took on the man-eating lion, and Hercules saying, "Hi everybody, thanks for showing up." And we see right away that he hopes, obviously, Zeus and that is going to be proud and amazed by him. And we see how Hercules thinks, obviously, he's going to be amazed with him. And Zeus saying, "Are you done yet?" Turn out I could have waited for you to say that. It's wonderful, and I'm proud of you. And all the other things great dads say. But it isn't time for you to finally come home. And we see how Hercules thought, obviously, they had worked things out, but obviously, Zeus thought it was more of a phase, him wanting to be mortal, and obviously thought that maybe he would eventually become a god again. But we kind of see how Hercules has to learn a hard lesson, that some parents will accept things, others won't. And of course, we do see how Meg and even Hercules have to kind of discuss this. But we see how obviously Phil has another assignment for Hercules. And turns out it's from obviously the Greek god of love known as Aphrodite. And we also see right away that Hercules has to help a certain artist. And obviously, if you've watched the Hercules TV show, which was non-canon, they do kind of use obviously Peg Millen's character and the Greek story Galatea. And right away we see how Hercules has to stop Frankenstein's monster from causing mayhem. And obviously because of obviously him sort of asking Aphrodite to bring his creation to love, Hercules, Meg, and even Phil have to try and stop Frankenstein's monster from causing mayhem. And we see how Hercules gets to work on stopping Galatea, but we see right away that this is obviously having to deal with something beyond their control. And we see Hercules saying, "Unhand me, you horrible work of art! Huh, now face the full fury of..." And we see right away, obviously Hercules having to realize this is going to be something a lot different from the Titans, gods of the underworld, and so forth. But right away, we see how Galatea makes quick work of Hercules. And we see right away Meg tries to help, but of course ends up putting herself in danger. And Meg realizing that Galatea is actually harmless, saying, "You think so? Gosh, thank you. It must be all the love in my heart." And we kind of see right away Hercules realizing, despite his attempts by Aphrodite's favor to destroy Galatea, he actually realizes she's kind of harmless and just didn't really know any better. And we see how obviously Meg gets healed up, and we see right away Galatea saying, I didn't mean to hurt nobody. I was just happy when I came to laugh." "So you didn't attack Pegmalion?" "Heck no, I was just brushing out with a hunger of hungin'." "Thank you, Piggy. I love you." "Ugh, don't call me Piggy." And we see right away even Hercules has to realize the Greek gods are just horrible people and just think they're in the right all the time. And this is Hercules having to realize that the people who should be responsible for you never are. and they just won't admit any mistakes or faults in their actions. And we see right away, even Hercules decides to have a word with Aphrodite and tries to kind of say that he didn't really destroy Galatea, but even Hercules has to wonder what happened to her. But we see right away that even Hercules does have his limits. He does have a temper, but he knows when to kind of keep himself under control. But we see right away that one of her sons, Eros, says, Hercules, Hercules, I need your help. Eros, what happened? Aren't you ever off the clock? It's my mum, Aphrodite, Hercules. She's been kidnapped. And yeah, leading up to issue 2. I think my best thoughts about, obviously, issue 1, it's not a bad continuation from, obviously, the movie, and does have to take some creative liberties away from the TV show. As, yeah, the TV show did something more with Galatea in that. It obviously pointed out the dangers of trying to forcibly be in a relationship without seeing the dangers, and I can sort of see where they're doing more with the Greek gods here than from the TV show, as the Greek gods here and in the first film had a little bit of this superiority complex. They didn't really stop to kind of get to know any of the mortals better, but in the TV show it felt more of this getting to know the life of other people better and being involved in the life of the day-to-day life of people. It's not a bad continuation, and it is trying to do more after the whole non-canon TV show that felt a bit more like Superboy. So here, it definitely deserves a thumbs in the middle. Kind of alright, kind of okay, but doing more after the whole film, and trying to do something after the whole Disney Villains Hades comics, and more with some of the characters that did appear in the whole Hercules TV show. So, comic book reviewer here, signing out.